Hello everyone, and very welcome to this webinar related to the MSc in Entrepreneurship and Venture Management from the University of Galway. So I'm delighted to be welcomed by some of my colleagues. So Dr. Yixin, who is the Assistant Professor of Entrepreneurship and the Program Director of the MSc in Entrepreneurship and Venture Management, Professor Jonathan Levie, the Professor of Entrepreneurship and Regional Development, Sharon Allman, and the Marketing and Student Recruitment Officer from the J.E. Cairnes School of Business and Economics. And I'm also joined by Andrew Sinch and Joydeep Saha, who are our overseas representatives from the Southeast Asia region. So just before we begin, just some house rules. If you have any questions, so please type them on the right. If we can't answer them during the webinar, we'll do our best to answer them at the end. This will be recorded, so if there's anything you missed, or if there's anything you want to review afterwards, we will be sending out all of this. So firstly, I'd like to hand over to my colleagues.
Hi, thank you, Niall. Thanks a lot. So I'm Yixin. I'm a lecturer here at the University of Galway, and I will be the program director for this very exciting new master program in entrepreneurship and venture management. And I do hope there can be a chance, to meet you here in Galway, and you can see the sun is shining here today. It's really lovely, and yeah, I hope it's the same good weather no matter where you are. And joining me for the presentation today is Professor Jonathan Levie. We have been working together for years here, and Jonathan has really extensive experience in designing this kind of programs and working in these kind of programs. So I'm really lucky that I got the chance to work with Jonathan on this program together, and I hope that we can meet you together here in Galway soon. And if you can move to the next slide, Sharon. Yeah, and I believe you agree with me that it's very exciting to be a part of a change, right? And I think there are many people who share this kind of ethos with us, and that's partly the reason why we have observed the entrepreneurship field to grown really significantly in the past decade. However, we have also observed that most of the current educational programs, they have a target at the pre-startup stage. Of course, it is important, but with this kind of a bit narrow focus, there is a big and a very exciting part of the entrepreneurial field that is neglected. And you see, there are different ways to be a part of the entrepreneurship world. For example, there are different possibilities that we have listed here. And also we hope that by doing this program, you will be able to take those roles to be a part of the entrepreneurship world. So it can be a founders associate role. It's a new trend of the right hand of the CEO or the founder of a startup. And we might move on to more details later. And then you can also be the next generation of family business, or you can take on some, functional roles in a scaling business. Yeah, good. And then during this webinar today, we will cover 3 different parts for you. The first one is about the program design. So the program design is not only about, the curriculum design, it's also about how does the design of the curriculum fit into the current demand and requirement in the entrepreneurship world, namely what are the roles that people are looking into. And then the second part would be, I will be handing it over to Jonathan. Jonathan will share with you more information about the local entrepreneurial ecosystem. It's a very vibrant and open system here. And also there are a lot of exciting opportunities, and you will see, we will introduce some local really scaling examples with you. And then in the third part, also Jonathan will share with you a bit more university-wide resources that can be helpful for your entrepreneurial journey or to be a part of the entrepreneurship world. Sharon, if you can move to the next slide, and also the next one. Yeah, thanks. So as we already mentioned a bit earlier, entrepreneurship, of course, is very exciting. And there are different ways to join the entrepreneurship world beyond being an entrepreneur or start your own startups. If you can move to the next slide, Sharon. So if you look at the 4th stage of a startup, it's not only about the pre-startup stage. So at the pre-startup stage, what people normally do is to find a product and market fit, right? So you identify the potential opportunities that can establish your own business ideas. And then what we find is that a lot of the business or a lot of the programs currently existing programs, they focus on the pre-startup stage of this full life cycle of startups. And then after this pre-startup stage, there is also a potential scale-up stage and then scaling stage of business. Then what it means is that after you have identified the opportunity in the market, of course, we would expect this business to grow, and then maybe it's not a linear growth. It can be an exponential growth for this business. And then during this stage, the kind of required skills for management and for founders would be very different from the startup stage. And you can see the challenge in the startup stage. It might be that they need to lead change. They need to look for strategic directions for this organization. So this is, if you can click, Sharon, here. So this is what we try to address in this program, namely, though we see that there has been a lot of programs looking at the startup stage, then we look at the other parts of the full life cycle of startups. If you can click here, Sharon. Yeah, and by looking at this part of the startup, what we see is that there are many companies, when they scale up, they need to maneuver this storm of change. And then they start taking a lot of talents. And then they also need to manage the kind of change and a lot of transformation within the organization. And then by this stage, a lot of founders, they are looking for talents who can assist them and support them in making a lot of strategic decisions. And we have already discussed and chatted with many people who are either in this kind of roles or who are looking for talents to fill this kind of roles. And also the skill sets required in this scale-up stage, we find it also fits very well with the kind of skills that a lot of next generation of the business heirs, they are also looking to. We can imagine that for many family business, especially for the next generation of family business, they need to prove their ability, right? And then they potentially wanna lead a venture or spin off from the existing family. But at the same time, the existing family, of course, would like to minimize the risk from having the venture, and at the same time doing something that is different from the existing business of the family business. Because first of all, probably the next generation, they need to show their capability by doing something different. And the next thing is that probably the existing family business will also need a bit of change and transformation so that the existing business can cater to the current change in the market. So this is how we see that there is a gap in the current existing program offering, and then this is how this program may fill this gap in the current existing programs that is offered by other universities. And what we do a bit special and different in this program is, first of all, we have a very different focus. So following on what we mentioned earlier, a lot of existing programs, they have a focus on pre-startup stage and then focus on opportunity identification. But in this program, what we're looking to is that we look at the full life cycle of new ventures. So it starts from startup, and then we also go for the stage of development and scaling, and then also harvest and probably exist as well. Then in the curriculum design, we observe that in many of the existing programs, because they have a focus in business model design, in opportunity identification, and then they also try to squeeze in a part of innovation in the program. Therefore, that program design kind of omits the growth or scaling stage of the full journey of startups. And then in this curriculum design, what we try to do is that, first of all, from the different stage-wise, we look at the different parts, the different stage-wise of new venture, and also we try to cover different aspects that relates to the management of new ventures. It can be financing, selling, talent management, and also scaling. And then also in designing this curriculum, we always keep in mind that it's very important to keep a very close connection with practitioners, with the industry. So we have a lot of also collaboration and partnering with existing companies. And I might talk a bit more later when we come to the curriculum design part. Yeah, Sharon, if you may move that. Thank you. And as I mentioned earlier, there are different professional opportunities that we have thought about for the future prospective students. We can move a bit, Sharon. Thanks. So the first possibility would be the Founders Associate. And I might have talked a bit, what is Founders Associate? So you can imagine Founders Associate being the person, the right-hand person of the founder, of the CEO. And when a startup, they have identified a fit with the market, a fit of product and market, then they start growth. And then there will be a lot of changes internally in that organization regarding process, regarding talent management, regarding strategic prioritizations. Therefore, these Founders Associates, they normally cover different parts of the young venture. And we have also found that because most of the existing entrepreneurship programs, they look at pre-startup stage. Therefore, there hasn't really an offering or a program that covers this part or this potential, or let's say there hasn't been a program that train the students to cover this type of roles. Therefore, it's a very unique part of this program. And also, so far, we have also consulted and talked with some HR firms who specifically are looking for talents and startups that can match those talents to fill those Founders Associate role in startups. Therefore, we have also got a lot of insights and knowledge from the very frontline people, that what kind of skills they are looking for, and also what kind of softwares they are looking for. And then we have also built in that part into the program design. And then the next potential career path for this program would be, if you can move a bit, would be family business heir, because we have observed that a lot of family business, or let's say family business heir, they need to start a new family sponsored venture. Either they need to earn their spurn to show their capability, or they need to adapt to the change market. And we have also seen that it's a significant amount of people that fall into this role, because there has been a survey conducted by a researcher. It covers 41,000 students, 41,000 students who are the family business heirs, and 43% of them are expected to be a business founder in the coming 5 years. And we have also seen that a lot of the startups, they are in fact spin-offs from family business, and 1/5 of all the startups, they come from some family business spin-offs. Therefore, this program also try to explore opportunity that can help those family business heirs to transform or to have some successful spin-offs from the existing family business. If we can move, Sharon. Thanks. And then a third potential professional path from this program would be taking in a junior management role in scaling business. So you might know that Ireland is really a very fertile ground for scaling, because Ireland is a part of EU. Then culture-wise, it's also close to the UK and the US. So a lot of indigenous companies, they have really been through very, high growth stage because of the different possibilities and markets. And also because of this feature of Ireland, a lot of multinationals has also set up their high growth department or team in Ireland. And you can see there are some examples I put in there. These are 3 companies who have set up their new department and high growth department in Galway. And over the past 2 or 3 years, I think their staff member has either doubled or tripled, and it's over the pandemic time. So you can see that a lot of companies has really done very well in Galway. And meanwhile, when those companies, they are growing, you can see they need talents. And they need talents in a way that they would prefer some people who have readily available skills into the process of scaling, so that they can help them with this growth stage. So this is also what we aim for, or a potential career path that can be covered by this program. If we can move, Sharon. Thanks. And then we move to the part about how does this program can help you to develop the required skills that you can fill in, or you can be in those roles. So first of all, if you can click 2 times, Sharon. Thanks. So first of all, in module design, we have this program really suits students from different backgrounds. And then also we have covered modules that introduce you into the different stages of venture. It's not only about pre-startup or startup, it also covers the growth and the scaling stage. And then also functional-wise, we look into different functional aspects of new ventures and how new venture works. It covers selling, strategic management, international entrepreneurship, and also scaling as well. And when you will be working on those modules, you also develop strong connection with local business, because we have integrated a lot of partnership with local ventures into those module design. If you can click 2 more times. Yeah, thanks. So how we achieve those goals. So in this module design, we really start with very fundamental modules that introduce you into critical thinking and professional skills. Then we move on to very specific modules on international entrepreneurship, on founder sailing, on entrepreneurial finance and managing scaling ventures. And also, because of the very vibrant local ecosystem here, which Jonathan will cover a bit later, you will see that we have got a lot of partnering companies and also partnering institutions that also they play a very strong role in the module as well, because by working with them, you really see how venture works, and also you see the vibe, the working culture of different ventures before you really step into those roles, which will be also a very valuable experience for those those roles. If you can click more times. Thanks. And maybe next slide, Sharon. Yeah, so if you can go back to the previous one. Thanks. So in this module or curriculum, you will see that all the different modules that we cover in this program, you see that we really start with some more fundamental ones and then move on to more specific modules that covers different functional parts of venture management. And there are some modules that I have highlighted because in those modules, including founder selling, entrepreneurial financial management, and applied consultants report, in those 3 modules specifically, we have students really working very closely with local ventures. For instance, in entrepreneurial finance management, student groups will be working with local ventures on their balance sheet and to suggest some potential financial solutions to those new ventures. And then in the applied consultants report, we have student groups working on some proposed strategic challenges from those new ventures. So this really provides students a good chance to understand how it works in new ventures and how it works with founders. If we can move on to the next slide, Sharon. Thanks. And now I might hand it over to Jonathan for the local ecosystem part.
Yes, thank you, Yixin. You had the hard bit, I've got the fun bit. So hello, everybody. It's great to be with you today. I'm going to talk about the ecosystem that we're surrounded by in Galway, just to give you a flavor of how exciting it is from an entrepreneurial perspective. So Sharon, if you could yes, and one more, please, Sharon. Yeah. So I'm going to start within the university and then work outwards. So within our own discipline of management here in the J.E. Cairnes School of Business and Economics, we have a Centre for Entrepreneurial Growth and Scaling, which is one of the leading centres in the world now, with a research and outreach focus on business scaling. We're also founder members of the European Scale-Up Institute. So if you could just, a couple more, Sharon. Yeah. So we have a lot of faculty working on the area of scaling, and that goes straight back into our teaching. If I move out a bit further to the university as a whole, Sharon, just one more, I think. Yeah, that's it. So we also have other kind of centers or areas within the university that are involved in venture creation. And one example of that from the medtech area is BioInnovate. And you can see there on the left-hand side just what they've achieved. It's a really exciting program, which I actually teach on, where people from within and outside the university get together in teams and they develop new med tech ventures. Then we have our own research and innovation office with a research and innovation center, which has a lot of businesses. It's sort of like an incubator. And a lot of my students work with them on different projects. And then we also have another center within the engineering faculty, which focuses on agricultural innovation. So technological solutions to issues in the agriculture industry. And there you've got entrepreneurs who have developed ideas for new products or new services, and they go through a course. So in all of these three cases, and these are just three examples, you have entrepreneurs starting businesses and they need help with different, for example, with selling or with finance. And we're going to connect you with them so that you essentially learn on the job through consulting projects or other projects. Some of them we've written case studies on, which you would do in class, but there'll also be a lot of hands-on work. So Sharon, next slide, please. Yeah, so here's just one example of an exciting medtech spin-out venture, which was started by the guy on the right there, Aaron Hannon, who is a young graduate biomedical engineer. And he got together with the lady in the middle, Dr. Barbara Oliveira, who's an expert in this particular field, and with a wonderful professor called Martin O'Halloran, who's also director of BioInnovate. He has his own translational research lab, so translating discoveries in the lab into actual products. And you can see what they've got there is, it looks like a helmet. It's actually a product which, if you're a cancer sufferer, it prevents you from losing your hair. And believe it or not, that's a really important issue for cancer sufferers. And they've just raised 15 million after some successful clinical trials. So you can imagine that within the next year or two, they're going to be expanding. They're going to be looking for more people. They're going to be looking for management to help them grow this business. Next slide, please, Sharon. Okay, so moving out beyond the university, we say our university has no gates. We're part of the city, and it's a really exciting city. It's small; it's only 80,000 people, but it's one of the top 3 European micro cities of the future. It's a living city, and I would say it rocks. It's a great little city to live in. It's a cultural capital. It was a European capital of culture a couple of years ago. And there's a nice little quote from somebody who's who I taught actually, who's a founder of a technology business locally. This is Triana McGillery. She says, "Living here has given me the ability to achieve the balance needed to rear my family, meet friends and family, and connect with nature while working hard." So we're right on the Atlantic seaboard with beautiful countryside and the ocean. What more can you ask for? Let me move on, Sharon, to the next one. Okay, so we have a lot of close links with the business community in Galway and in the west of Ireland, and we have a regional business summit every year that if you come here, you can be part of. And you can see that I'm there with my colleague, Professor Esther Tittman, with people who've started great businesses or who have led the European arm of American entrepreneurial ventures. Supported by various enterprise agencies. So we're very closely connected with industry. And here's some examples of businesses that have based their European base or their indigenous businesses that have started and flourished in Galway in a number of different sectors. So Galway is a medtech hub internationally. It's one of about 7 or 8 medtech hubs in the world. But we're also doing really interesting work in ICT and in the creative industries. Sharon, just one more, please. Yeah. We have a number of accelerators and incubators in the city. So there's an ICT accelerator called Portishead, which we work with very closely. There's a scaling accelerator and a sort of science center called Platform 94, which has scaling businesses. We also have a specialist incubator or accelerator for creative businesses called Digital Crew. And we're also connected into a network of accelerators across Ireland called the NDRC. And with all of these accelerators, we work with, we have students doing projects with their clients, and they support what we're doing. So there's lots of other organizations within Galway as well that we tap into, and just a few of them are down there at the bottom. Okay, next one, please, Sharon. Right, so just a couple of months ago, some other master's students of ours participated in a founder weekend organized by the Portishead Accelerator. And here with some of their judges are those winning students who won the High Potential Startup Award. And so my kind of challenge for you is, could you see yourselves in September 2025 being the winning team? It's possible if you take our master's degree. So imagine starting in the beginning of September, and within weeks, you could be launched into and immersed into our local entrepreneurial ecosystem. Right, next one, please, Sharon. So I think I'll hand over to Sharon now, who can bring you through the application process. And you can see there's a QR code there. Sharon.
Hi there. That was excellent, really interesting. So exciting, this program. Yeah, so the application process, it's very simple. It's just here, there's a QR code, and the offers are made on a rolling basis. And but I would recommend that applications be submitted, because I really think while it's a niche program, it is incredibly exciting and interesting and unique. And I think there's a lot of interest already. And yeah, so we would recommend getting those applications in. They're made online, and you can see there it's Ellucian Recruit. With the QR code is probably the easiest. But if you Google or any search engine, the MSc Entrepreneurship and Venture Management at University of Galway, it should appear on your browser. So that's the application process. And then I would also just like to say we also have scholarships. There's a business postgraduate merit scholarship, which is up to, it's a very generous scholarship that grants up to 50% of the tuition fee. And all eligible candidates are automatically considered. So you don't have to apply, which is great. Everybody who's eligible will be considered. But to be eligible to be considered, one must have accepted their offer. Now, we have different closing dates because obviously our global students will have visa issues, and so we have an earlier closing date for that, so that funding is in place before they apply for visas. But so that's the 30th of April 2025 for the global students. And then for our EU students and domestic students, the closing date is July 2025. So again, there's a QR code there. And the title is Business Postgraduate Merit Scholarship, University of Galway. So you'll find it in a search engine. So I think that's all that housekeeping. And I suppose I would just say thank you very much to Jonathan and to Yixin for a really interesting presentation. It was really exciting, delighted to be part of this. And if anybody has any questions, just put them in the chat here, or as Niall said at the outset, you can put them in and we'll get back to you, or you can contact us also, Yixin, but we have business postgrad, I think it's in the last, oh no, it's not there, but business postgrad at University of Galway for any queries regarding the programme, or management at University of Galway .ie, and we'll get back to you with any queries that you have. So
thanks, Sharon. I see Abhishek has a question there, and Yixin, if you like, I can try and answer that. So yeah. It was a question on can you focus on entrepreneurship in finance? So while this program, it gives you a general education in all the major functions that you really need to understand how to manage in a new venture, there is the possibility to take 2 electives from across the kind of the business school's offerings. So you may be able to find some additional electives in finance. That way we have a MSc in FinTech, for example. There's also master students in business information systems, and we may well be able to find you really interesting projects in FinTech businesses, which are all around us. So there's definitely a possibility to build up expertise in the FinTech venture area, Abhishek.
Yeah, if I may add a bit, Fidelity, the company is being very impactful and influential now locally in Galway, and they host a series of very interesting events. So if you are interested in entrepreneurship in finance, I'm sure you're gonna get a chance to meet people from Fidelity by being in Galway, because all those a lot of the events I've been to, they are open to all students. So yeah, this is also a feature of the ecosystem in Galway. I feel they are very open and very embracing. Yeah, and if anyone has other questions, feel free to put them in the chat.
I believe, Yixin, there was one more, just what are the general entry requirements and deadline for this course? I think Sharon may have touched on it.
Okay, yeah, there's no deadline. We accept applications on a rolling basis. But as I say, you know, we would recommend that applications be submitted, you know, as soon as possible. And then the entry requirements are normally it's a H2-1 degree in a level 8 qualification. However, candidates with a 2-2 degree who also have 2 years relevant work experience would also be considered in the program. Yeah, so that's the entry requirement. But again, it's a rolling basis, but as soon as possible.
I think, Sharon, am I correct in saying that, you know, with some of our other management master's programs, we've had to stop.
Yeah, so it happens in business. I mean, we have certain programs where, yeah, we've had to close the programs because they were oversubscribed very early in the cycle. I would say realistically with this, I would be, with this program, it depends on the program, but some programs, they could close before Christmas because, you know, they're established and, you know, they're very popular. I would be saying early in the new year, I would be definitely make your decision, and, you know, I just wouldn't leave it to chance because it's very hard to tell. It changes from year to year, and we find we're closing earlier because obviously for capacity, that's the only reason per capacity. So, you know, that we still have quality classes, you know, smaller sizes.
Thank you. And I can see Andrew and Joydeep are also putting in some answers there. So I've uploaded and Andrew's done the same as well. So just the links to the program. So, and the contact details as well are in there.
Oh, right. I see. I could see the chat. Sorry. Thanks, Andrew. Jodie.
Thanks.
And just one question from my end, because it's often we get asked it afterwards, after webinar. In terms of the demographics, I can see that there's quite an international selection of students. Are students from all over the world currently on the program? Is that what would you prefer in the future? Maybe to Jonathan or Yixin?
Well, this is a brand new program. However, what we can say is that the other 3 programs that are operated by our discipline, the management discipline, are very international. And in fact, formerly, Yixin was the program director for the international management program. So,
and very diverse. I would say management is very diverse, international as well. Yeah, a very good mix of domestic and diverse international. So it's great. Yeah, they're fantastic programs.
That's great. Okay, so I can see Andrew is putting in her email address as well. So what I will do is that I'll keep it open. So if there's any questions to add, other than that, so I'll send out the copy of this webinar to anyone who has registered and either had to leave or didn't fully stay. So they'll all have that within the next hour. And you have all the contact details for everyone who's joined the webinar. So just on behalf of myself, thank you for joining us. And in particular from our colleagues across the board. So it's really exciting. We look forward to seeing you on the ground here in Galway in this time next year. Okay. So thank you, everyone.
Thanks very much, everyone. Thank you.